If more of you supported the show, I'd be less sick of podcasts.
The blah blah.
Sending out good vibes.
Blah blah.
Good vibes. Good vibes. Good vibes. Good vibes.
108 breaths of deep gratitude and prayers for guidance and protection. And put on a didgeridoo and shamanic drumming track. Shivers or vibrations and stuff like that.
I think to me the most striking thing that happened was when she said, my favorite color is yellow. And the patterns literally became yellow. That completely, like, we were all like, did this just turn?
Okay, guys, welcome back to the Grimerica show. We are going to be chatting with Caroline Cory a little bit later about her movie Superhuman. Fun chat. We were just trying to recollect on it. This is one of those weird ones that I don't seem to be able to place. Seems like it happened a while ago, but it didn't even happen that long ago. It's got a ton of views on YouTube.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Was it a while ago?
Yeah.
Oh, it's been a month.
Yeah.
I
know. I felt bad.
I'm thinking more.
But I mean, we've been just pushing out all these episodes, and I don't know. I just thought, well, whatever. We have to do what we got to do. So it's a month late, but.
Oh yeah, the French lady.
No.
Is she French?
No, she's not.
She had an accent though.
Not really. No.
No? Huh.
Anyways, it doesn't.
She was a nice lady. I'm looking at the YouTube stream.
Yes,
I remember
it was
that,
fantastic.
That
You
was
want to
a fun
introduce
chat.
me so I can talk about it?
No, you stay in the corner for a little while longer. After your little weed comment. The Superhuman wasn't that the one that was like the new...
it was like the contemporary
the new
what the bleep.
Do we knew?
Yeah.
Yes, now it's all coming back.
Yeah,
it's flooding in. And we got Graham day off Dunlop.
So yeah, this was great.
You're on holiday today?
Yeah. It was
I was not.
It was a great movie, buddy.
My day was a train wreck.
Oh, really?
That was a fun train wreck.
Yeah.
We got the beam in at the end of the day.
Oh, good.
Right, with minutes to spare.
Wow.
Stuart Olson really takes that schedule super serious for an airport that's not open and may not even operate in another couple of years, but we'll get through it.
That's good. That's enough about work. We got better things to talk
Well, I ended up with I got a bunch of vegetables at work today.
Nice.
I went to work today and I came home with 100 pounds of vegetables.
I was wondering how
with
that
over
happened.
100 pounds of vegetables. I got up there and he's like, let's go to my truck. I'm like, all
You
right.
guys are doing a big deal of vegetable,
So I go,
organic,
I didn't even know what was
food
up.
deal in the back.
We go to his truck. He just goes out, pulls out a 50-pound bag of carrots, 50-pound bag of potatoes,
This is how it's
30
going
pounds
down
of
now.
onions, bunch of IGA. But you need any celery? You'll have to pick through it before you go home. See if there's anything in there you need.
I'm trying to eat more vegetables, so that would sure.
I'm gonna
do that.
skin and chop all the carrots, and I'm gonna freeze them all. Yeah, the carrots you don't have to do nothing to freeze them.
Good for
Anyway,
you, man.
yeah,
So you
it's
traded
just-
a bunch of meat, or
Well, we're working on something. We'll
you're
work out
working
a
on
deal.
Yeah, working on a deal. Little barter.
A little barter system. We won't get
under
into
the table barter.
That's right. Keep the government out of it.
Yeah.
He's teaching me how to store a lot of stuff. He kept his potatoes that he bought him last September, this weekend, last September. His potatoes lasted till, his onions lasted till June in his cellar without rotting, nothing, just sitting down there. And his potatoes lasted till now.
Wow, that's great. That's pretty good.
So I've got
that's
him
the
trying to
winter,
teach me how to
every
store
year, the
those
winter
things.
storage. Yeah.
So I'm going to take a crack at it this year. There's that little spot under the steps here. I think it'll stay kind of cool under there. I'm going to kind of build a little thing around there.
Doesn't it freeze like in the winter?
It won't freeze under there, no.
What, really?
This will stay all
Really? Eh?
I'm hoping it'll stay around 12 degrees in there. I'm going to close all the vents off into there so that none of the house heat goes into there. And I'm hoping it'll be like my cold room.
Right on.
I don't know why you couldn't just use a fridge, but I guess it's just, why couldn't you just put it all in a fridge? I guess you could, but most people just don't have that much fridge space. It's not economical to keep 50 pounds of potatoes in the fridge.
Probably, yeah. Imagine if you had to. Yeah, I wonder how much that would cost electricity-wise all winter long.
Well, yeah, because I was thinking you have that fridge sitting in your garage if we just filled it up with potatoes and onions.
Yeah, look into it. Yeah.
But if the cellar would work, I mean, ultimately, I'd like to figure out the way to do
Yeah,
it
you wanna
without
do it
the
without
fridge
electricity,
involved.
yeah.
You know, would be ideal.
Yeah.
Like, I think that meat that you were watching me do up there, when that's done, you could like vacuum pack that in 1 or 2 layers and just lay it on the floor in your basement. And it's probably cool enough that it'd be good all the time. Cover it with something maybe to trap in that cold air.
So that's jerky though, right? You've just dried it out?
Yeah.
All right.
You got to cure it too.
Yeah.
It's curing salt.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I'd imagine you got a bunch of spam this week.
No, I want to talk about Caroline Cory first because this movie is important for people. Like, it's one of those ones where, I mean, it starts out with remote viewing, which most people are familiar with and all that, but it ends up, you know, in the end where they're teaching people how to see without their eyes. I mean, this is truly like how us humans are superhuman and we can transcend these physical boundaries, you know, and make the invisible visible. I mean, it really is. There's a lot of science in there. They're doing all the experiments in front of the camera, and it really is inspiring in that way.
Is it out now?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Maybe I'll watch it tonight.
Oh yeah. It's fantastic. It's a good one for the friends and the family. You know, it's especially with people that might have skeptical, skeptical points of
used up
view.
my
Like
video time for this week.
that's fine. This is an exception.
Does this
for
count?
Grimerica.
This counts as work?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
You're not going to like what I used it up on.
That doesn't matter. That's fine. Whatever.
Mulan.
Moulin Rouge?
No. Disney's Mulan.
Oh, okay. That's okay. Whatever.
The live
Whatever you wanna
action
do.
one.
Oh, yeah. I don't even know what it is, so
It made me laugh a couple times.
that's good. So anyways, yeah, check it out. There's links in the show notes to this. Fantastic chat with Cory about it all, or Caroline about it all. It's great.
I'm told there's a large controversy because the lead actor supports China over Hong Kong. I was like, oh, that is a pretty precarious position to take in global politics.
Yeah. Well, it's
But
not
she's
surprising.
Chinese.
Not surprising.
Well, that's like, as I said, I'm like, I'm sure she's probably a Chinese spy.
Isn't all of Hollywood sort of siding with China right now? Isn't that the mainstream thing to do?
You know, I wonder how many people that have been blaming the Jews for running Hollywood forever are just like, wait a second, what is going on here? Seems to be China. There's a giant smokescreen. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to watch it later. If I don't watch it today, I'll watch it tomorrow.
So yeah, we did get a lot of feedback. I really appreciate everybody giving us feedback on our dilemma, whether we talk about COVID or not talk about COVID. I think most of the people understood where we were coming from, and it was a little bit of on both sides. You know, some people kind of sided more with Darren, like, let's not talk about it. This is our escape. And then some people said, yeah, I kind of understand where Graham's at too. Like, where you got to talk about it. So we're not going to talk about it today, but we're going to talk about talking about it.
We're going to talk about talking about. That's like
Yeah.
a step in the right direction, I feel like.
It's going to lead me to a couple emails that I'll read about it.
I figured you got a few emails this week.
Yeah.
I was CC'd on a few of them.
Yeah. The one that you were CC'd on, I'm going to read. Except, even though I'm a little reluctant because he's so complimentary of you at the end. Like
You don't
you've
have
got
to read that
Like
part.
you've got some superpower or something.
I don't have any superpowers. My superpower is ignorance.
If you want to, okay, let's just talk about this a little bit here. I did get, we got fact checked. I think this is the first time we got fact checked on Instagram. So they're honest. They're honest, Darren.
I've been fact checked.
On Instagram?
I'm not on Instagram.
Well, I know, that's what I'm saying. On Instagram.
Why isn't this?
You don't say ham, you say spam.
I forgot about that jingle. That was, I think, the first jingle that's the first. This is, I think, the first actual jingle that ever got sent to us.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was Neil Davies in the UK.
Yeah. So I posted a picture of a sign from a protest.
What's it say? I couldn't
It says, if masks work, then let family back into hospitals to be with their loved ones. If they don't work, then get them off our children. Someone is lying. That was fact checked.
What did it say? Fact check false?
Yeah. Independent fact checkers say this information has no basis in fact. So it's a question, right?
I'm getting into the beat.
Masks, and this is from the fact checker's science feedback, and the conclusion is false. This meme is false. Masks offer only partial protection from the virus that causes COVID-19, but their effectiveness can be enhanced with other measures like physical distancing. Health feedback.
You know who's going?
I thought it was one or the other. I thought it was kind of like you could wear a mask if you can't social distance, but I guess that's out of there now.
Old Dynamite was going off about masks today, talking about how we can't breathe in them. I'm like, yeah, now you understand my stance on putting my little kid in a mask who can't understand that she can't breathe. Or especially the kids younger than my kids that don't understand that they're, like Danny says, I can notice myself getting low on oxygen. He's an older fella.
Yeah, it affects you right away, your oxygen levels.
And I was like, well, that's what I worry about, is that a 4-year-old kid won't notice that their breathing is weird, or that they're not got the right amount of oxygen, that they're feeling dizzy or whatever, you know? Anyway, I don't want to get into all that. Anyway, my position is firm and hasn't changed.
No, I just wanted to
working at the airport is challenging.
Yeah,
with this position.
Oh yeah, 100%. I did ask somebody locally here in one of the stores that you don't have to wear masks. I'm like, because I'm seeing everybody with masks now, even in places where you don't have to be. The programming is getting to the point where people think. I asked them, I said, what do people think when they come in this store? Like, what do they say? Do they think that the masks protect others or protect themselves? And they're like, protect others, definitely. People think that they're protecting everybody else by wearing a mask. So it's that whole stopping your spittle thing is what really people think. They think that they're protecting everybody else by wearing a mask.
I guess that makes me an asshole. But I don't mind. I'm okay. I'll wear that.
I don't even want to get into it because it's the whole big picture is off, right? The whole thing is off to begin with, so...
skewed.
I did see a bit of Dr. Oz today, and it creeped me out big time. How mainstream the whole thing is. He's got his show is turned into COVID Central right now.
Trump's going to end up on Rogan.
I don't think so.
No?
No. Anyways,
where does that put Rogan?
We're already getting down into the weeds.
All right, let's hear your emails.
Okay, so I got an email about this. Darren and Graham. Oh, this is okay. I'm going to read the title is COVID, Sick of It. An email in reference to your Damien Eccles introduction discussion about COVID.
It was an interesting intro to do it on because I got enough flack about Damien Eccles.
Yeah.
Canceled subscriptions and blah, blah, blah. People are disappointed in us. If people take the time to tweet me and tell me how disappointed they are, I usually just instantly block them. I don't know. I hate it. I just don't want to hear it. I have enough people in my real life to worry about disappointing that I don't need to have to worry about disappointing random people on Twitter. Obviously, we knew what we were getting into and made the decision to move forward. I don't feel like I should need to defend that.
He's been the rounds on, not that this is an excuse, but he's been on Duncan Trussell and all these big shows. I mean, he's been all over the place. I mean, he explains it in his book, that he doesn't think he was, or he was falsely accused and all that. But I guess this doesn't matter that he was on death row for 18 years and got out. That doesn't matter to people, I guess. I mean, I don't even know if I want to get into it here either.
I don't want to get into it. I'll just bring it up that it worked out interesting that it ended up being on that intro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, carry on.
I mean, people want us to have, Ted Kaczynski on. Well, how is that? So you want us to have them on, but we can't have that other guy on that's supposedly innocent?
Supposedly innocent.
Yeah.
I defended your decision staunchly.
I know you did. Thank you. Yeah. And I'm totally comfortable with it 100%.
Me too.
So I went back and forth with people about it, and I said, thanks for expressing your disappointment. I appreciate it. And they said, well, only if I would email in all the shows that I love, keep up the good work. Most people are pretty good about it. They just don't like that we had them on.
I like when people use it as an excuse not to support.
Yeah. That's okay.
Like, well, how can I support you? It's like, well, it took you 445 episodes to figure out that we weren't worth supporting. I feel like you should have made that decision earlier. Anyway, I digress. Damien Eccles turned out to be a more
controversial
cat than I expected. Yeah. Controversial intro, controversial episode. It all lined up well.
Yeah.
Carry on.
And then the next one after was Industrial Society.
Yeah.
This future. So we're just stepping in it right now.
Yeah. Perfect.
So, hey, one more thing about COVID before I read this email. I was thinking what we should do. Some of these shows are going to be about COVID.
Yes.
Right off the bat. So we'll make our intros about COVID. Maybe that'll be the episode that we talk about it.
We'll save
There's a bunch of other ones like
the COVID apps.
Yeah, like Caroline Cory. This was not about COVID at all. It was about being superhuman, basically. So, that's when we maybe won't even talk about it in the intro, We'll try and make that whole thing, free from COVID. Make sense?
It does make sense.
All right.
I still don't see anything from OBDM about.
Okay, so let's go. Here's the email. Quick email. Darren and Graham, feel free to read this on the show. I canceled my subscription to Grimerica because I was sick of hearing about COVID. It wasn't your fault. You guys weren't to know. I just had enough of it all. I live in Melbourne, Australia, and I'm sick of COVID. People here have been crushed. We are losing this spiritual war. I personally refuse to wear a mask. I do not obey curfew. I do not social distance. I shake hands with anyone who wants to do so. And I attend the protests where the militarized police force is just so weird. So I'm fighting hard, but the other day it just got too overwhelming. I had looked at the COVID data from around the world 1,000 times, and I'm absolutely convinced we are living in the greatest heist, scam, lie, false flag, goddamn state-sponsored terror attack that this planet has ever seen. My own modeling indicates 200 million people worldwide will die as a result of the first year of lockdowns. My colleague, who is perhaps the best psychometrician in the world, believes my estimate is conservative. This week, I will resubscribe to Grimerica. I would personally like it if you don't talk COVID, but I also don't want to tell you how to run your show. I think it would be dangerous if you guys start listening to dickheads like me for advice. You guys well and truly know what you're doing. Finally, Darren, something tells me you are very close to knowing exactly how to deal with COVID and the machine in general. Your exit back to nature is sublime. You disappear without dying and in some ways without actually disappearing. To me, you are performing magic here. You sneak back into society, but you live in the forest. Your kung fu is good. You may have achieved what John Baudrillard aimed for when he said, dying is nothing. You have to know how to disappear. Wish me luck down here in Melbourne, the fastest growing dictatorship on earth. Paul.
I don't think
Your kung fu is good, Darren.
I don't think my kung fu's that good.
And you're magical.
I don't know about that.
No, I think he's got a great email. It's a good point. But it just kind of shows you why sometimes I feel like we need to talk about it because he's living through this. People like him are living through this stuff, right? And if we don't agree with the premise to begin with, how do you not talk about something that's so huge? That was kind of my argument.
Interesting that he would come on that side of it and be up against it.
Yeah. I guess it's just because it's just all over, right? I mean, he probably needs that escape, right? He wants us to talk about, being superhuman without worrying about picking up a disease that's got a 99.97 whatever % chance of not doing anything to you.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I had to put off shoe shopping this weekend because I'm going to go support Strathmore businesses.
Fucking good job, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I still just won't go into Calgary really if I have to wear a mask. I try just not to do it. To be honest with you, I'm kind of super blown away and disappointed at just the amount of it that's happening right now. It really feels like we are subtly losing this whole thing. Everybody's just going right along with it.
Could be. Definitely could be.
Yeah.
I spent most of my weekend in the wilderness. So.
There you go. Yeah, disappearing into the woods.
Walking around.
But just seeing all the people from the parking lot go towards the store and pull out their dirty mask out of their pocket, put it on their face, walk into the store because the store is saying, because of our bylaws in our city.
Yeah.
And then coming out and then ripping their mask off right away. And all the kids hanging around the store a foot apart from each other, just having a good time as a kid, like as kids do. They're out doing that, and then they got to go to school and pretend that they're going to be protected? It just all seems like a crazy scam.
I think I'm going to get that picture painted, actually, of us out hunting the other day. Good. Kyle took it. We were walking along.
Beautiful. Yeah. So anyways, I feel like, but people think we're going down a little too deep into it too. I got some emails saying, yeah, you guys are a little too conspiratorial. And I'm like, really? We don't even talk about a lot of the extreme conspiracies, but because we're pushing back against this, it feels like there's a lot of people that are like, ooh, they're going a bit too far. And it's like, wow, you can just listen to the World Economic Forum yourself, what they're saying. It doesn't take too deep of the research to figure out that there's something bigger going on here. But anyways, well, let's digress.
I digress.
Okay, I got one more feedback email here. We'll
Keep
read.
Them coming.
This is from Christine. Oh, this is interesting too. I mean, it does make you wonder. This is about censorship and stuff. Hey guys, found you through Tinfoil Hat, and you guys have really grown on me. You cracked me up. There's a tiny little paper in a tiny little town about 20 miles away. My town is even tinier. Post office, 2 bars, and 1 restaurant. And I've started trying to do my part to get the message out by paying to advertise podcasts and websites in their personal section. I've added you guys to the list. Creepy thing happened, though, once QAnon pub link was published. Not that I'm a huge QAnon fan. I think their info should be included in if the general public wants to research alternative news. Anyways, the Thursday, September 3rd, 2020 issue of the NKC Tribune had a guest editorial titled, "How can you stop fake news from faking you out?" The only site this expert goes on to address as fake news is QAnon. It was a huge 11-paragraph editorial on page 5. At the bottom of the editorial was a huge paragraph on the author's qualifications. Just to assure you that, oh yes, he is qualified to spot fake news, baby. I believe this guy is really CIA. No shit. And he didn't like this little town getting alternative news links printed in the paper. Ban.video, geoengineeringwatch.org, blackgenocide.org, vaxter.com, several others, and now yours. This is the dude's list of qualifications as printed in our little paper, his guest editorial. David Dozier, DavidDozierBooks.com, is the author of California Killing Field and an international recognized expert and speaker on mass communications, public relations, and communication management. Professor Emeritus in the School of Journalism and Media Studies at San Diego University, co-author of 100 books and chapters, articles, and scholarly papers, and his works have been cited over 4,000 times. Among his numerous honors are 1990 Pathfinder Award. I'm just going to skip through a lot of this stuff. There's a whole bunch of awards, public relations, and everything. What a joke, she says. Complete overkill to slam QAnon while no mention of CNN, only QAnon. The article itself is creepy in how he tries to insinuate things, like then uses his authority to assure you he knows what he's talking about. Creeped me out. Felt like a mind job. CIA thing, dude, totally. I'm starting to feel they have people everywhere kind of creeping an eye on what's left in the independent media. The NKC Tribune is just a little paper owned by a family in town. Anyway, that's it. Love you guys. Keep up the good work. I did the $5.55 sponsor for you and $5 for tinfoil. You guys, love you guys a little bit more than Sam, I guess. He interrupts his guests too much. Ha ha.
I hear the QAnon stuff everywhere. Like the other day at work, I had 4 people bring it up to me.
Wow. Yeah, it's getting very, very...
One was the inspector.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's interesting because the more they try and debunk it, the more they kind of bring it into our consciousness. It makes you wonder, what you're really debunking it over child porn and child trafficking that they're trying to stop. I mean, that's kind of the wrong reason to try and go after something.
Down at the one site was telling me how many people Hillary Clinton killed.
Oh. Wow, you're getting the body count. Your worlds are colliding.
It's oh boy, I didn't comment. I didn't want to get dragged into that conversation. Never get out of there.
Same thing happened to me where somebody was talking about their hairdressers and conspiracies, and I was like, oh yeah, tell me more. And it was really interesting. I love hearing those stories.
Tell me more.
People are waking up. Maybe we're not losing this battle after all. So I do have a related operation project for us to talk about if you want.
Operation operation?
Yeah.
All right.
It's going to be a double.
One of my favorite segments. One of my, could be my favorite segment of the show. This could be my favorite segment.
Bullshit. Now you're just using reverse psychology or something.
You think? I was thinking about, come on. I wouldn't do that. I might, but I'm not this time.
What's that noise?
Looks military to me. Definitely military. Probably classified too.
Dishfire, Prism, Sentry Eagle, Sigma, Mannequin, Artichoke, MK Ultra. Operation Project.
So there's a couple here. This is trying to figure out which one this is. This is from the U.S. Marshals again. It's it's funny. What I think it's Project Homecoming. Again, there's a few media. I think the media is starting to pick up on this a little bit more, which is a good sign. But this was a 1-week initiative, and it was a culmination of several months of planning and coordination between the USMS, Southern District of Indiana, the IMPD, Indiana Department of Child Services, and Indiana Fusion Center. And these were all reported missing by local law enforcement. And these children between the ages of 6 and 17 were considered to be some of the most at-risk, challenging recovery cases in the area based on indicators of high-risk factors such as victimization of child sex trafficking, child exploitation, sex abuse, physical abuse, and mental or medical health conditions. So they found, how many did they find in this? They found eight kids in this. But I do want to say, like, out of all these things, you know how you hear them in the media, and I've been talking about them and all that, doesn't mean they're all victims of child trafficking. I think some of them are runaways. There's a bunch of different reasons why they would be looked for, right? So it's not just like every time you hear like 29 kids were rescued, you know, it doesn't mean they were all rescued from this one area where they're all
just a couple.
You know, yeah. There's a.
I wonder what the percentage is.
Yeah, I know. I often wonder that too. Yeah. And then there's this one called Operation Broken Heart. Now, 2 indictments among 1,700 nationwide for child exploitation and Operation Broken Heart. This was in Savannah, Georgia. I don't think I talked about this one yet, eh? It was 2 men and nearly 1,700 arrested for child sex exploitation crimes. This was back in June 2019. They were... let me just skip through here a little bit.
Skippity-doo-dah.
The federal charges, I don't want to get into all the federal charges and all that. Operation Broken Heart, a nationwide operation conducted during April and May by the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Forces, led to the arrest of nearly 1,700 suspected online child sex offenders. The task force identified 308 offenders who either produced child porn or committed child sex abuse, and identified 357 children who suffered recent, ongoing, or historical sexual abuse or were exploited in the production of child porn. So during this operation, the task force investigated more than 18,500 complaints of technology-facilitated crimes targeting children and delivered more than 2,150 presentations on internet safety to over 200,000 youths and adults. The sexual abuse of children is repugnant and it victimizes the most innocent and vulnerable of all. So there's another thing in here that talks about the percentage that we were talking about. As the perception of sexual exploitation of children continues to move from windowless vans in back alleys to dark websites on the internet, the investigation and prosecution of these vile crimes must continue to evolve. We are determined with our law enforcement partners to find these criminals wherever they try to hide to protect the innocent from victimization. Anyways, I wanted to mention a couple of the real things that are happening with
the real deal.
You know what I mean? Apparently, right? I mean, these are from official sites like the U.S. State's Attorney Office, Southern District of Georgia, from justice.gov. So it's not just from a...
InfoWars?
Band.video, you mean? Band.video.
That's right.
profound quote of the week.
I don't see a book over there anywhere.
It's ready.
Oh, is it?
It's the profound quote of the week.
Is it superhuman-esque?
The human who spoke it or wrote it down.
I tried to find one.
No?
Profound quote
I tried to find one that was fitting for this episode. I got two little ones here. You might be able to guess some of these. There's two tiny ones. All truth passes through 3 stages. First, it is ridiculed. Second, it is violently opposed. And third, it is accepted as self-evident.
I'm gonna have to go with John F. Kennedy.
Nope.
Fuck.
Arthur Schopenhauer, writer. The next one is only the small secrets need to be protected. The large ones are kept secret by public incredulity.
Kissinger.
Marshall McLuhan.
Ah, that makes more sense.
Yeah. There you have it, buddy.
That's it. That's all we got. That's all we got. If you're getting a little value from the podcast in some way, shape, or form, head over to grimerica.ca/support. Let us know what the show is worth to you. Is it worthless? Is it worth $1 a month, $2 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month? Maybe one $5 donation every once in a while. Whatever's clever. You decide. Grimerica.ca/support. Do bear in mind, we can't do these shows for free. They cost us time. They cost us money. And you can let us know they're appreciated over at the support page, grimerica.ca/support. Sign up today. Sign up the newsletter, grimerica.ca/news. Join the chats, grimerica.ca/chats.
We're pushing for 1,000 and 10,000, right? 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, 1,000 in the chats, and 1,000 newsletters. We're close to all of them, and 1,000 reviews.
And 1,000
So this
reviews.
is the push. We want to get to that at the end of September, all those.
Yeah. Hurry up. Giddy up. Do it all today. Make it extra special. And enjoy the chat with Superhuman Caroline.
All right, we've got an exciting episode here. We've got Caroline Cory with us. She's the writer, director. She's an award-winning filmmaker, writer, director, and producer of the awesome movie called Superhuman, The Invisible Made Visible. I'm not going to go through your whole bio here because I think that'd be a good way to start us off, and you can tell us a little bit about yourself because it seems to me like it's going to blend into this whole journey and the movie and everything. So welcome to the show, Caroline.
Hey, Graham. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, I'm excited. I watched the movie. I loved it. I told Darren it was kind of like a contemporary What the Bleep in a way. It kind of, kind of had that sense.
Yeah. Hopefully kind of the next step from there.
Yes, that's exactly. Like I liked how you included, and we'll just do a little overview here and then we can talk about your background maybe and what got you interested in all this. But I really liked how you included the scientist and the actual, all the instrumentation and all the stuff that they're doing, like some of the guys we're familiar with that we've had them on the show before and all, but just to show them doing their science and how this is sort of like the next level of proving, non-local consciousness and all that. It was really good. I mean, the first part of it, we've talked so much about remote viewing in here, so it was a little bit review, but it was a great finish.
Yeah, that was exactly the idea of this film because of What the Bleep and The Secret and all these movies, but not just movies, all the talk, the last so many years, telling us consciousness, the mind has an effect over the body, or you create with your mind, positive thoughts affect your health, so on and so forth. Yep. But I felt like, it was all still theory. I mean, as much as it feels right, but I didn't want to just keep talking about it. I wanted to show how it's possible for the mind to actually have a measurable effect on a physical object, on physical matter. So that's why the film is packed with on-camera live experiments, demonstrating. Okay, so the body, the mind affects the physical body. So we did the experiment, as you know, with the water, showing how just by looking at it, the pH can change, or telekinesis, just by focusing on it, you can move an object, so on and so forth. So yeah, I feel like this movie, I actually have not seen it in a movie format where we demonstrate and do all these experiments. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, that's what I liked about it. So what got you interested in all this? It looks like your bio has a lot of experiences, your own personal experiences, which the guest people that you had in to bring with you on these experiments in the show also seemed to be, open-minded, or they wanted to learn more about it genuinely, which was cool.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, it started when I was 5 years old. I started to have experiences where I would look at someone and I would know what's wrong with them, or, they're struggling with something and I could see the root cause of the problem. I would see what was going to happen to them the next day. I would see what is happening on the other side of the wall. I would hear their thoughts, stuff like that. And so I would see beings too. And so I thought everybody did that. So I thought, okay, who cares, So that's why I never really talked about it. I didn't really think it was anything special. But then that got me asking the question, okay, how did I do this? Because the person didn't know, but I knew. And then the next day, this thing happened. So I started asking what made me know and what did I tap into? So when I was asking these questions, basically, that's really the science of consciousness, how consciousness works, the mechanics of it all. And so I spent 20 years in that field, developing methodology for energy medicine, for expanding consciousness, doing remote viewing and intuitive abilities, all these types of stuff. I taught, so many workshops, people all over, training, doing this methodology and getting more and more validation. Like, this is working. This is not, we're not all imagining these things, You focus your intention and then the blood test changes the next day, or the x-ray shows this. And, so because of this validation, I became confident that, hey, we have something here. And so then I started working with scientists, and I said, we know this works. A lot of people know it works, but how can we demonstrate it? Have measurable effects to share with the world. And so they said you have to do experiments. So I started working with all these scientists, and we set up all kinds of experiments. So we would do experiments with DNA, with water, all kinds of things. And for the folks who are listening, when we set up in a scientific experiment, it's not just focus on water and whatever happens, we measure that. I mean, it's very rigorous. We set up a baseline. We take measurements over and over and over a period of time. And then exactly at the time that you focus your intention, this is where you see the effect, which tells us, okay, that is an effect from the intention. And then you have to do it over and over. Once is not enough. And so we really did it the correct way, if you will. Yeah. And it kept having repeatable, measurable effects. So I did that for about 3 years. And because it was real and successful, I said, okay, I felt like we need to share this with the world. And that's how the movie came about.
Right on. What were some of the things you did personally to increase like I feel like you went on this journey after realizing you had maybe intuitive powers or precognitive abilities. What were some of the things you did to increase that? Like I have friends of mine and loved ones are quite intuitive, but they're not sure, or they want to build up those abilities a little bit. Is there some things that helped you more than others, or some things along your journey that you would recommend to people that are having precog dreams, or they're having these intuitive moments and they want to increase that ability?
Yeah, the first thing is obviously meditation. But I learned very quickly that not all meditations work or do the same thing. And so I experimented with different types of meditation. And some of them, of course, most of them make you feel calm and relaxed. But I wanted to know the difference. Like you hear people when they have a meditation, they say, oh, I felt like I was one with the universe. And I kept thinking, well, but that's relative. Well, how do I know? Like how, so I really, really explored the types of meditation. And I realized that, so when I was merged with the planet, it felt like it was the whole universe because it was so much bigger than me. But then what was it like when I merged with the planetary system or with the sun or with the moon, then that felt different. And then I started to explore being connected and merged with the galaxy and the universe. So I really kind of studied how every time you expand your consciousness and you do a meditation, the effect is very, very different. And so because I spent so much time on that, I realized that there are certain meditations that really, really help you do certain things. And I was interested in staying very aligned and connected with what I call source, meaning, to me was creator or the intelligence of the universe, and also I wanted to keep my vibration very high, and I wanted to have clarity and precision so that when I do receive information, I know I didn't make it up, because that was my biggest fear. Yeah. When I would see certain things, I'd be like, what if I made it up? I'm not going to tell them, before I'm sure. So that's why I really took the time to understand what type of meditation to achieve what results. So that's a kind of a very long answer, but basically to say, for people who are starting out and want to improve, take the time to investigate the type of meditation that will allow you to expand your consciousness.
What are some of the examples of meditations that work?
Yeah, so that's why I ended up making up my own. I created, because I knew that, and also I would meet people who did transcendental meditation and or different types, and I could feel the difference. So that's why I created this meditation called Connecting to Source, and I made it so easy, so simple. But basically, it's free of charge, by the way, for those who want to try it out. And basically, you connect with, I want to call it the hub, of the universe, kind of like you plug yourself back into that frequency and you align all your brain channels with it. And you kind of, it kind of flushes your system out of the lower vibrations. So you feel very uplifted, very connected, but again, in this very clear way. And you bring that energy through your body into the earth and back up. So again, if you want to try that, it's I made a short, quick version of it that people can do at any time. And I feel it quickly gets you there. And then after that, then you can focus on, do you want to bend the spoon? Do you want to change the pH of water? Then that's a different type of meditation as well.
So that one, that clarity that you talked about, that helps you discern what's true, what's imagination, what's, if you're getting some messages that they're genuine.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bit more training with that too. But that's kind of the meditation that at least gets you out of the human mind, because it raises your vibration and it aligns your brain channels directly with that like you bypass the planetary system, if you will. And so your human mind as well, you bypass that. But like I said, I've been teaching for 20 years, so I have, and I'm very I want to know how things work. I don't want to just put my hand out and I know energy's coming out and I'm healing a person. I want to know exactly wait, how did that happen? How is it possible? Can I do it again? Is it, so because of that, all my work and my classes are very, very specific. If you want to train yourself for telekinesis, it's a very specific meditation, aligning specific 0 points in your body that not only quiets your mind, but that makes you very laser precise. If you want, for discernment too, I have another kind of technique for that as well.
Where can people find that one? That connecting the source one?
So connecting to source is on my main website, basically, CarolineCory.com. Okay. And it's free of charge. Actually, my YouTube channel has a ton of meditations for free. And so people can just go and explore, and they will also feel how it's pretty technical, if you will, the different meditations. And the connecting to source, the easy one, is also on there.
So did you do energy healing training as well? You mentioned that a couple times. Did you go through any specific modalities or?
Yeah, again, so I explored, I'll just tell you, again, I feel like I never had a kind of a teacher or a guru or one method that I actually followed, because I discovered these abilities myself. And so I felt like I wanted to know how it worked, and because I looked at, for example, hands-on healing and stuff like that, it was too vague. It wasn't yeah. And so I developed my own methodology, basically, through time. Like I said, I've been doing this for 20 years, so.
So is it like sort of Reiki hands-on healing, like connecting to source and then you're the channel for the healing energy, that kind of thing, or?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I mean, it's actually reprogramming. So basically, if somebody has a problem, so you learn to, first of all, align yourself, cleanse yourself. So that's kind of the preparation. But then you learn to identify the root cause, because everything is information. So inside your cells is information. It's the DNA tells your cells to vibrate, to function in a certain way. It tells it for you to show, to appear a certain way. But when you have thoughts and emotions, you're also putting information in the cells. So when you're saying, I hate my job, I hate my life, I'm angry at my wife or whatever, all these thoughts and these emotions are information that are literally going inside the cells. And so with this technique, you learn to identify the root cause of the problem that you're having at the cellular level. You are able to retrieve that information from the cells and reprogram it. And so, so basically the way you put it in, you take it out. So
does this get into past life trauma and some early childhood trauma? Like you get into that type of healing as well?
Yeah, exactly. So with this technique, you basically are asking for the root cause of your current problem. So that takes you back to the way you programmed yourself as a child, or you've had some trauma in this lifetime. But sometimes that takes you back to an early childhood experience, or to even prior to that, to other lives. And sometimes it takes me all the way to when you were a human for the very first time. Wow. So that's kind of how you have to go back to the first time as far as you can in order for the current problem to go away forever.
And that's just based on a specific problem. So it's not like you have to always go back that far, but just for the root cause of that thing you're trying to deal with.
Exactly. And that's why a lot of people, for example, have an issue and then it goes away, but then it comes back. It comes back because, well, you helped it a little bit, but then you never really found the root cause.
Okay. Yeah.
The minute you change the root cause, then it doesn't have any reason to come back because you've changed it.
So once you find that root cause, is that enough? The acknowledgement of that enough to deal with it, or do you have to do some work with it as well?
Reprogramming.
Right.
So you have to, so acknowledgement, of course, is the first step, but then reprogramming. So you can do this with different techniques, intention. So for example, you can say, I ask and intend for this root cause, whatever it is, to be deleted from my cells, from my conscious, subconscious, cellular memory. So you can kind of say what you want and reprogram the cells. But also light, it works with light, it works with geometry, it works with sound, it works with different there's different techniques that are all together as a bundle in this one methodology, because every person needs something different. So some people are not very verbal, like they just want to sit there and just feel stuff go away. Or children, for example, like they love light. So certain types of light erases information and new light puts in your information. Sometimes you have to use sound. Sound is much more direct and it's like fractures the information. So it depends what is needed at the time. So it's very sophisticated. It's very.
Can you cheat with mushrooms or DMT or ayahuasca or anything like that?
Yeah, I personally, I'm not very popular when I say that, but that's my truth. I personally don't do that or use that or recommend that. That's, again, my personal opinion, because it kind of gets you to that state of consciousness by using an outside source, even if it's a natural source. You are still programming yourself. You're teaching yourself that you need this product, whatever it may be, to heal. And so it's better than nothing, but that's kind of the issue that I have, is you should be able to reprogram yourself organically. Because you created the problem subconsciously. Nobody creates problems, consciously. So if you tap into your subconscious organically and know what you did, you just changed it. It's just like that. So, but we don't have that training. Like, who teaches us this stuff? It's like, as kids, they keep telling us, there's nothing beyond the body, stop doing that, or, so that's why sometimes, and sometimes we're so stuck, that maybe we do need, something external, and it's totally fine. So in that case, I guess it's okay, maybe like an occasional, just to kind of unstuck you or something, but not really as a method to heal.
Do you think it's the shamans and stuff that are using it down in Peru? Do you think they're tapping into the same mechanism, though? Do you think they're connected?
Yeah, I can't speak for all the shamans, but I feel that this gets them into an altered state of consciousness, and then they can sense more. That's the idea, is that you are more sensitive. You can feel things more. That's why people have hallucination, like you see, you hear. And so I feel like that's what allows them to, then they can feel your fear more. They can feel, like a kind of a block, a trauma. So they tap into that energy of trauma or fear, and they kind of, they use like all kind of smudging and stuff like that. But did it teach you how you did it? No. And the idea is, if you learn to do it yourself, first of all, you learn about you. And you also program yourself to never do it again. That's the difference. And that's why, for me, the method should be empowering. I want the people to figure it out so that they can continue to maintain self-repair.
That makes sense. Do you do that for people online, especially during this time where you talked about a workshop for something else in October, but do you have a regular clientele online that you can help with through that?
Oh, all the time. I've been doing this forever online.
Okay.
I started doing online when very few people were doing online, because I realized that so I had clients in Europe. I didn't want to travel to Europe. And of course it works long distance. I mean, because there's no time and space. So you can just, I started doing Skype sessions a long time ago. And especially now, I mean, with this whole COVID thing. So it works just the same. But it's psychological sometimes for the client to think, oh, I have to be in person. It's more powerful. It's different. Maybe it is more powerful, but you still get the same effect.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. No, I think it's great. We're stuck in this schizophrenic society where we're still, stuck in this paradigm of materialism, yet most of us know people that have had these experiences or we've had them ourselves that prove that something else is, there's something, reality is not what it seems, yet we're still kind of stuck. So that's why I like your movie with all the science in the end for people that really need that, to see these scientific, results and the procedures. It's great. I mean, maybe we can get into some of that now because some of the favorite ones that I haven't seen a lot of these things demonstrated like you did in the movie. Like, for example, the one that I think you had thoughts creating the sounds. And actually there was some visuals as well. And what was interesting is the types of thoughts affected the type of visuals or the type of sound, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so like I said, I tried to find different technologies to basically demonstrate the same thing, that when your thoughts, your emotions have an actual measurable effect, and you can measure it through sound or through visuals. And so we had this actress demonstrate that, where literally she would just be having the negative thoughts, and then the sound would be completely chaotic and crazy, and the visuals would be so. The software was programmed that when it's a specific vibration, a lower frequency, it would show up as red. And when it was calm, because it's measuring the EEG, when you are calm and relaxed and happy, then it would be a different frequency. And so it was incredible because, like, literally the second she would switch, the colors and the sound would just match what she was thinking and feeling. Which tells us every time we think, every time we have an emotion, it is literally changing not just our brainwaves, but it's changing our entire chemistry. So I love that example as well.
Yeah, I think you can notice that. I think everyone can kind of notice when they can, like, their good song comes on the radio or whatever happens, and it kind of lifts you up or energizes you. And all of a sudden the whole world seems like a new place. I mean, it's just try and spend as much time there as you can and life ain't so bad.
Exactly.
Even with COVID. Have you had any success killing COVID with
Yeah. So that's the idea. Some of the things, because I mean, what's the point of this movie is to not just show and demonstrate the effects of the consciousness on the physical body, but how can we apply this then to your daily life? And so the experiment we did with the pH, remember that one? And so I'm not the first one actually who did this experiment. There's a physicist, his name is William Tiller. He did an experiment where he had a group of people focus on water, and they tried to change the pH. It would go up or down depending. And so I did that again in the movie, and I was able to change the pH by 1 decimal, which is quite a lot, just by focusing the intention. And so the idea is, if you can do this to a glass of water, then you can do it to your body, because you're mostly water. And so we all know that viruses and bacteria cannot survive in an alkaline environment. So most of our food and everything else is very acidic, keeps our body very acidic. And so if we're able to just try to affect the chemistry of our stomach or our body, then, we could be avoiding all of these things or helping the body stay healthy in that way.
And eat whatever I want.
And what?
And eat whatever I want.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent.
I mean, technically, you should be able to once you master that ability. But I mean, sometimes people don't, sometimes they're like skeptical or whatever, and it's okay. But what does it hurt to even try? Like your mind is free. So if you have a bit of a stomach ache or something, then try to focus on it, see if you can change the chemistry and see what happens. And, I do this with kids and they can just do it, suddenly they don't have a tummy ache, but adults are so complicated. It's like, how do I do that? What if it doesn't? It's just try it and see what happens. And I think if you just give it a chance, you'd be surprised how much we can help ourselves. So going back to the COVID question, if everybody did that, maybe we would be in a better place. Not just COVID, everything, our health in general.
What about the resonance in DNA changes? I had a note here to ask you about that.
Yeah, that was fascinating. In fact, this was one of the first experiments that I started to do with the scientists. I would literally, so we had DNA samples taken from women's placenta. And so we would put electrodes in the substance and try to change the electricity that's running.
Right. Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
And so when I did that the first time, I remember again, creating a baseline, taking all the measurements. And then the second I focused on it, I didn't know at the time what I was supposed to do. Like, I was like, so what do I do with the DNA? But I said, I just want to create a measurable effect, like some effect that shows that I focused on it. And that thing jumped 400%. It was insane. And then when I stopped and it went back to the baseline, the scientist was like, what just happened here? Do it again and do it again. Every time it would have an instant, such a quick, instant effect. And so this told us that, again, the thought, the intention had a very strong effect on DNA. And the idea is if you can change the electrical conductivity in the DNA, apparently they've done research on that, and they saw that when the electrical conductivity increases in the DNA, it changes into a torus-like shape, speaking of Nassim. Yeah. And it starts to self-repair. So that's why this experiment was very significant. This means that just by focusing your intention on your own DNA, you are literally self-repairing.
So it's kind of like hijacking the placebo effect and giving it some intention. So do you think the pharmaceutical ads and everything else that's sort of bombarded in commercials and television and now on the news with COVID being mainstream and everything else, do you think that has some sort of negative effect on our frequency? Do you think we're not only fighting ourselves, but do you think, because of maybe they even know that?
Absolutely, 1,000%. I think we're bombarded with, again, everything. You have to realize, to me, everything is information. So it's not like the information stuff that you read. Emotions are information. You're putting out a frequency, which is information that your body receives. Excuse me. Same with thoughts. And so when you're given words, the name of a product, a drug, which usually are very strange to me. I don't know about you guys.
Oh, yeah, they're weird.
Like weirdest names, like Elantra. I don't know, just like those weird names. But anyway, those words, believe it or not, in fact, that's also in the movie, they have a frequency. So you're looking at the ads on television, already the words are already being absorbed by your subconscious mind, and you're also focusing on sickness. You're thinking, and also, isn't that a natural reaction when you see somebody sick? Don't you think, like, what did this happen to me? Doesn't that?
Yeah. And especially when you see all the bloody side effects listed down below. I mean, you don't think you're going to say, "Oh, am I going to get all those side effects?" Now that's in your consciousness.
Absolutely. And so we're bombarded with all of these, on all levels, the sound, the person talking to us. So our ears are picking up those frequency, the letters, the words of the name of the drug. Plus you read, like you said, all the side effects. So you're really absorbing through different channels, the information, the vibration of fear. And that's exactly what they want. Because if you're in fear, first of all, it's hard for you to see clearly. You're confused because you're like, what's going to happen to me? What if this happens to my kids or whatever? And so the first reaction is they have the answer for you. All you have to do is call your doctor or whatever. So it's total programming.
Scary stuff.
Here's the mind killer.
Yeah. I forgot about the part about the words on the movie. What can you expand on that a little bit more?
Yeah. Do you remember it was Karina Smirnoff who did this experiment? And so we used a technology that actually measures the frequency in the voice.
Oh, right. Yes. Oh, that's very interesting. I'm glad we're talking about that. And sorry that we have to keep getting into all these different aspects of your movie, but I think it's worth it to dig into some of this deep.
Yeah, so actually this vocal technology is used by the healthcare system to identify the frequency of cancer, for example. So they realize that every person's voice is very unique to them. It's like a signature, just like a fingerprint. It's very unique. So they figured out a way to analyze the frequency of your voice and look for the signature of cancer, for example, or diabetes. And so you don't have to take a blood test. You don't have to be injected with anything. Just through this technology, they can say he's carrying the cancer cell or whatever, which is incredible, right? But of course, we don't hear about it. But you can research it and see that that's a real technology.
Is that better? Is that easier to do in different languages? Like, say, English is kind of not verbose. It's kind of
ambiguous.
No, it's a little ambiguous, but it's also kind of technical. Like, it doesn't have a lot of the flavor and emotion that a lot of the European languages do.
That's true. Actually, I did that one time in a class. The language itself has its own frequency, but in addition to this, it's your voice. So the way I say something in English, it has to do also with the way I would say it in French. So It's the language is, has a component, but also my voice, my frequency. And so that's why we also receive it differently, because when I speak French, it's you feel it differently. But anyway, going back to that technology. So if you have this signature, usually you see it as a graph. You see that frequency is doing this, whatever. But this gentleman in the movie, he took it from just a linear graph to patterns. So patterns would appear when you spoke. And so the test that we did is that when the person was saying positive things, the patterns were like beautiful, like circles and stuff, remember?
And bigger too, like way more pronounced.
Yeah. And then the minute she would say something negative, the patterns would be all chaotic. But also, I think to me the most striking thing that happened was when she said, "My favorite color is yellow." And the patterns literally became yellow. That completely, we were all like, did this just change color just by her saying the color? So we were blown away, even the person who led the experiment, which again tells us that what you say has a way to manifest. I mean, it's an actual frequency that is measurable.
I wonder if that can discern truth versus lies as well. Or I wonder if that's why you can kind of sometimes, when you hear somebody lying, you kind of can tell they're lying. Like there's something about their vibration maybe, or their inflection, or...
You're
Absolutely, because
over there?
No, yeah, for sure, because it's picking up not just it's the frequency is not just a voice like a flat thing. It's how the way you are saying it. Somebody can tell you I love you, but then you could tell they're into somebody else or whatever. How can you tell? It's because you heard the words, but the frequency behind it doesn't match.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Can it pick up like sarcasm and stuff, or like teasing, or like stuff like that? It can bypass all that.
Depends on your intention behind it.
Yeah, I think, I don't know if it will specifically say sarcasm, but it would be it wouldn't be so harmonious, because you're coming from a place of skepticism or whatever, or not being truthful or whatever.
So let's move on to another part of the movie then, which maybe the telekinesis part, I guess, which is, I mean, as a kid, how many kids used to try that, moving stuff with your mind or whatever? I could never do it.
You should try.
I should try now, yeah. But I don't know. I don't feel like I and maybe that's that's a problem. The problem is I don't feel like I can do it properly, but I don't feel like I can do that.
I don't.
Same with remote viewing. Same with remote viewing. Like terrible at remote viewing. Terrible at PK.
You're pretty bad at all the stuff you just want to be good at.
I know.
You can't lucid dream. I just feel bad for you, buddy.
I'm good at other stuff.
You're good at hockey and
physical things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you should try physically meditating.
Yeah. There you go.
How do we shake Graham out of this thing of thinking he's not good enough to do stuff?
Exactly. We have to reprogram him. That's step one. But also you have to be motivated.
Reprogram?
Yeah. So you have to be motivated. Like, why would you try remote viewing, if you don't have any reason for it, or telekinesis? And so for me, because it came organically since I was a kid, like I would see stuff that's happening on the other side of the wall, and then I would go to check that, or whatever. And then I started to create games, like, let me see if I can guess what's inside that box. So let me see. So, and then I realized that this had a useful application, which is, then I can look in someone's, heart and then see what's wrong and how I can help them. So then you're motivated to do this, So, but if you have no motivation, then you stick to hockey and it's okay.
So let's talk about the experiment a little bit, because that's really interesting.
Yeah. So telekinesis. So I had never done telekinesis before. And about 3 years ago, one of the scientists said, well, we put a piece of paper under a glass, and it's totally isolated, and we make it move and stuff like that. So I started looking into the phenomenon, and I said, that looks interesting, but I want to make sure that this is real. It's not wind or temperature or whatever. And so they said, would you like to try? I said, I've never moved an object. I was in LA, they're in Oregon. And so I said, but I'll try. Whatever happens, happens. So the first time I had to figure out, like, what do I focus on? Do I focus on the screen, like where I see the actual paper, because we're talking through Zoom, right? Or do I just focus on my mind? Like, do I focus on there? So I had to kind of like figure it out. And the first time I moved the paper like 5 degrees. So it was like very little. And I was like, okay, well, that wasn't so impressive. So, and then I was like, wait, how could it move at all? 5 degrees is 5 degrees. And so I said, well, I'll try it again, and I'll try it again. And so long story short, I figured out how to do it. And eventually I was able to like move it like crazy. And so then we said, okay, well, let's do it, scientifically, meaning, set up a time, measure this, do it this and that. And that's how I was able to eventually get into it. So I started out doing it remotely. And so because of that, I thought, okay, this is real. And one of the scientists did it with the vacuum. And now that was interesting.
Right. Yeah.
Because there's no electromagnetism, there is no temperature change, there's no air molecules. We did it with and without a mechanical, but mechanical thing is not enough for you to move anything. Like your consciousness is working with nothing, and we're still able to move the object inside the box.
Now, what was the trick? There was some sort of change in focus that enabled you to do that, which surprised me, and I can't remember what it is now.
Yeah, I started to investigate, like, in my mind. Now I'm going to try to change the temperature. I'm going to pretend that I'm there, and my hands are very, very warm, and my hands are on the box. And that is changing the temperature. So that would work sometimes. And sometimes I would pretend, or I would visualize that there were air molecules inside the Faraday cage. And then I was multiplying the air molecules to a point where it was like pushing the paper, and that would work.
Oh, okay. So it was a bunch of different things. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I'm thinking of what one of your guests said she did. Was it love or something? Was it? Oh
my God. Yeah. That was crazy. So another thing that we wanted to do in the film is I didn't want to be the only one, or just show only like people who train. And, I said, I'm going to invite random people, young, old, kids from all over the place, and just see if they can do it. Just learn it and do it. And so we invited Rachel Brooksmith for that experiment. And literally we taught her in 2 hours. And she also had to figure it out first. First, like you also have to do this gradually. You start by, even if you touch the paper a little bit, it's okay, because you're making the connection. You're trying to figure it out. Then you put it under glass. Then you do it without touching. Then you kind of move away from it. And so as she was trying to figure it out, as she moves away from it, and that paper is under a sealed container, a glass container, she started to say, I wonder if I just, she was being very playful. She said, I can give it a name and try to play with it and just give it love. And the second she said love, that thing started to turn.
Right.
It was so weird. So again, about vibration.
Yeah, it all comes back to love, it seems, in this reality.
Does seem to be love-based. Fear doesn't help.
Yeah.
Those might be the two. Hate's probably just a different spin on fear.
Yeah, it's definitely part of fear and love, I think, and then hate. Everything negative comes down from fear, right? So they say. So what about
Who's they?
They, everybody.
Oh, okay.
They what about the one with the recorder, Ben Hansen and Cory?
Yeah.
Corey Feldman was in there in his purple hat and all that. He's pretty flamboyant. But
yeah,
that was great. I mean, I still don't even know how that happened. I mean, how do you do that? It's crazy.
So the idea is everything is electromagnetism. I mean, that's the idea. And so we have an electromagnetic field. Everybody does. Objects do to a certain degree. So the idea is to amplify this electromagnetic field between you and the object, for example, in the case of telekinesis, or whatever it is that you're trying to move. And so in this experiment, we were just demonstrating that even a sound wave can travel through an electromagnetic field. So he records a message on one tape recorder, and then he plays it on another tape recorder that wasn't plugged in.
It didn't even have a battery in it.
It didn't have a battery.
So it goes from the one through basically it's like the sound vibration in a way. It was on a plate, and it goes into the other tape recorder with no plug in or anything.
Exactly. And the way we did that is by putting coils together, which created a magnetic field.
Yeah.
So that meant that it was just a demonstration. It wasn't, that the sound from his voice used the magnetic field basically to transfer into another tape recorder.
Yeah, that was
crazy, right?
Yeah, very crazy. Very cool. And then the most important part of the movie, probably, I mean, I can't believe we haven't talked about this or we don't know about this. Is it called Vibravision? What is that? But the part, but I mean, just that you guys went to all these different places that are actually actively training people to do this. And it started in Russia like 30 years ago or something, or 25 years ago. And I can't believe how many people are learning how to do this and that we haven't really heard about it. I mean, it's mind-blowing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, when I first saw it, I thought it was like there's a trick somewhere.
Yeah.
It's like so unbelievable. Like what? You can train people to see without their eyes. And so I investigated it. And I wanted to go. Now, I can't speak for people, that I haven't investigated. I don't know how they do it. But the people that I saw, I mean, literally, first of all, the mask, people don't realize, is pretty thick, you can see. And there's no way you can see through here at all. And so sometimes people say, oh, well, maybe there's light coming in. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, but these kids were playing ping pong and getting on a bike. So.
No, but also when you did that demonstration where you put the mask over obviously you're just putting it over the camera, but I did get the sense that that's how dark it is under that mask.
It's totally dark. And we did it again. We put in a device, the scientists put a device to measure the amount of light that was inside, and it was 0. And so our visual, we see because light is reflected on objects. And that's how we see. That's how the visual system works. So even if there's a little bit of light, so people who say, oh, they're cheating, whatever, which they're not, but even if there's a little bit of light leaking on this side, you still can't see because the light needs to be on the outside reflected to your eyes. And so these, I can definitely vouch, this was real. I did it myself. And the kids and, the adults too. Also, some of them can see behind their head. So how do you...
because it's not, it stops being about where you're facing, right? If you can see without your eyes, you can see whatever. That's what's fascinating about it. The implications are huge. So maybe explain then how it works, because there is a specific train, like you have to kind of get out of this paradigm of seeing through your eyes. And I guess part of that would be you get into complete blackness, and then you start to see things in your vision, I guess. So I didn't quite catch like how people caught on to that necessarily. It showed some people, but it was interesting how I don't know how I would do that.
Yeah, so actually there was different techniques.
Okay.
So the Vibravision, they teach you to sense the vibration of the object. So you become you become so sensitive to the different vibrations that you recognize what's there. And then you work on it, you speed it, and eventually you become so fast that you can pick up everything that's in front of you. So that's Vibravision. But the other techniques aren't like this at all. The other techniques, you focus that you're outside your body. Well, if you're outside your body, then you can see everything. And so it's not exactly like that, but something similar to that. And so, again, it's about reprogramming the idea that you need your eyes to see. So if you are outside, then you can bring in light, from the outside. And then eventually you start to see little dots of light inside the mask. Because I did the training, so I know. And so what happens is that it's completely dark, and all of a sudden you visualize that there is light from everywhere, and you're outside bringing it in. And all of a sudden you start to see little dots, usually on the side first. The peripheral vision comes first. So that's why sometimes you see kids doing this to read, because on this side it's clearer than on this side, than straight on. And so you start to see these little dots, and then you focus on making them bigger and bigger and bigger. And before you know it, like you start to literally see.
So that dot actually turns into almost full vision.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's what I was talking about. Yeah.
But the idea is you're still using your mind, like to reprogram yourself that you can even do that.
So how is it? Is it coming through like your cells, or strictly is it really an out of body? Are you almost forcing an out of body experience to happen, or is it like how is it actually being picked up then?
Yeah, so these other techniques, some of them they're called infovision. They call it direct vision, meaning you're literally seeing through the mask through these people. I mean, these that you've created.
Yeah.
So but other ones are you're basically imagining that your consciousness is bypassing your body, and then you can see from your skin, you can see from everywhere. You don't need to do it through the eyes.
So yeah, go ahead.
So different techniques use completely different ways, methods, but they still get you to the same result.
Does it seem easier on kids again with this? Because they're not so
definitely
programmed? Yeah.
Yeah. So kids, you just tell them, they just put it on and you say, what color do I have in my hand? And they'll just tell you. They'll be like red or blue or whatever. Or you say, what object do I have in my hand? They'll tell you. But if I did that with an adult, they'll be like, how am I supposed? It's pitch black. I can't see anything. And then you get into your head and the logic of it all, and it doesn't work.
Right.
So kids, like we just taught a class online because of the COVID thing. And after 2 classes online, the kids, 2 of the kids first, were able to read and do puzzles after 2 classes.
So this is fully masked, like no vision, no traditional vision. I mean, the movie really shows like you can't say it's fake. I mean, the movie shows these kids running around through obstacle courses, playing ping pong. People are reading. Blind people, right, can read.
Exactly.
I mean, the implications are huge. I mean, this person that has real bad vision problems, like she has to go right up to a menu to read it.
Where can we get one?
Sorry?
Where can we get one?
Those masks? Oh, they're online. I mean, I sell them on our website because we're training people. But if you're overseas, I mean, if you're in Canada or in Europe, you can just find them online, because then you have to pay for shipping, and these are only like $10, $15 or something. But there are different kinds of masks. That's why I like for people to get them on our website if possible, because these are, first of all, they're very comfortable, but also they're very thick on the side, whereas other ones do leak light, and they're not so comfortable, and so on and so forth. So that's why I recommend this particular one. And
that's called the Mindfold. That's called the Mindfold.
Yeah, and I'm not doing advertising for them, but I'm just saying, because I've tried different ones, and this one seems to be working the best. Or on the website for those who are in the U.S. At superhumanfilm.com. And I mean, so to me, of course, the idea, this isn't a circus. I mean, this isn't a magic trick. This isn't just for fun. I mean, of course, it's for fun, but all kinds of stuff start to happen. You become more intuitive. You become more quiet. The children start, like who are dyslexic, start to read better. So all kinds of improvement happen as well. And of course, you can also use it for visually impaired folks and the blind. And that's, I mean, when you think about that, it's crazy how useful this could be.
Have they taken it on as a tool yet? I mean, has it penetrated that community?
Well, some folks are very serious about it. Others are, as you know, skeptical. Will show us it works, and it's so funny, like how people who don't want to believe, they'll just like not even hear. And I mean, honestly, like if I had a visual impairment, or at least I would want to try. It's like, but the thing is, there is quite a bit of many folks who have been helped. But I do want to say that for the blind, it depends also on why you're blind. So sometimes if you're blind from birth, so your brain has formed a certain way, whereas if you have like an accident, like a brain injury, and you become blind from that, it's slightly different. And so that's why we can't say that if you're blind, you're going to see. I mean, it depends on the case, So, but for example, there was one case and we have the videos of all those people in Italy. He literally did not even have an eye because it was from an explosion or something. And he was able to use this method, and he was reading like normal. Crazy. He was reading the newspaper.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's really important. Is there a place in Utah that does training if people do want to do it in person as well?
Yeah, so the Vibravision, they're actually in Utah, in Ogden, Utah.
Right.
So if you want to learn this vibrational, way, so they can look, go there. But if they want to learn the other way, then it's different classes, like all over. People are all over.
Okay.
And normally you don't do this online, but we said, let's just try it, because with the COVID, nobody wants to travel. And so we tried it one time online, and it worked great with kids. So we're going to try it with adults next.
Cool. When are you doing that? Do you know? Like, is there something we can help advertise if people want to go on and learn?
Yeah, it's September, actually. It's on the website, but what's happening is that for those types of classes, because it's actually tedious work. I mean, it's not, you don't just like learn. I mean, you have to focus and concentrate and do exercises, and, so we can't take a lot of people. So the classes are very small. That's another reason why this has not spread like crazy, because every instructor can only do so much. So usually there are like 10 or 15 people in a group, or maybe 20. And so that's the reason why, there's so many classes that we can teach at the same time.
So are you certified? Like, do you have to get certification to teach that at all, or?
Yeah, so some schools, you have to be certified to teach that. And other schools, they kind of picked up their own way and they're teaching. And so because I've been teaching energy medicine for 20 years, and I have all kinds of other complementary things. For example, the type of meditation, the type of quieting, the type of things that I did not see in other methods. I said, I need to come up with my own, because, I think these are very important to know exactly how to breathe, know exactly how to do the meditation. So I kind of added this to my curriculum as just an additional tool. But there are instructors out there, like I said, who are certified by those different schools.
Okay. Imagine us, like, we could put masks on and just see, like, be podcasting and see this video and everything.
That's why I want to get one. I want to see if you can get through a podcast with a mask on, and then we'll send you to Walmart too and see if that counts as your COVID mask.
Wearing a mask, wearing a mask. So we've got a question here. I wonder what your take is on the pineal gland as far as this goes. Like, are people using this gland to see?
Yeah, so there's one school of thought. That's why I encourage people to research the different methodology and see which one works for them. So some schools, for example, the lady in England who teaches the kids, that's the segment in my film, she doesn't think it's the pineal gland, but other schools think it's the pineal gland.
Oh, interesting.
So I personally think that the pineal gland is involved. Definitely, because it is the part of is a gland that absorbs light, and so even through suggestion, Even if you're saying, I'm seeing light, I want the light to get bigger, you're literally kind of telling the pineal gland to absorb more light, even though there is no light. So even as a suggestion or affirmation, the pineal gland is involved. But I personally think it's the entire brain. It's you're switching from a linear brain functioning to like a full brain functioning. It's like the whole brain engages into the experience of light, not the visual system itself. In fact, like I said, sometimes people don't even have an eyeball, or their optic nerve is not functioning. So how can they still see?
Because there's photons everywhere,
Exactly, and it's your brain that is seeing. It's your whole brain that is absorbing, and you are processing what you are absorbing to say. Your cognitive mind is saying, I am seeing a table or a chair or whatever. So you're really seeing with your brain. You're not really seeing with your eyes. And so that's why I think it's even more than just the pineal gland.
Have they done any like fMRIs at all while people switch from visual to this full brain thing?
Yeah, I love that. So the Vibravision folks are doing a research on that. There's somebody else I know in France who has a software basically analyzing the patterns, the brainwave patterns, while you are wearing the blindfolds. But so far, also even the Russian groups, so what they do is they measure the EEG, your brain waves, when you are trying to read blindfolded. And they notice that the brain is behaving as if you were seeing and reading.
Wow.
While at the same time, they have a device measuring inside the mask that there is no light.
Wow.
And the pupils are open, or very dilated. Dilated. And usually they're dilated because there's no light. So how can you, because there is light, but then there is no light, right?
So the other way around. Yeah.
So sorry, I was because I was thinking about the it's actually in the film, but we don't pay attention. If you pay attention, you will see the person's eyes are dilated, and then it's showing that there is no light, the zero light photons, but their brain waves is saying it's behaving as if there's light and they are reading.
Right. Yeah, that's incredible. So I guess, Darren, do you have any questions after all this
I had a question
bombardment
from the chats, but I can't find it. Something to do with Rasputin. Post it again. I don't want to go back and look. Just post it again.
So I guess,
here it comes. From Slowboat. Would you gents be willing to ask Carolyn if she knows anything about Rasputin's abilities? I've been very curious lately.
Yes,
Go ahead.
I haven't really researched exactly his abilities, but I think all psi abilities, remote viewing, telekinesis, moving objects, all of this, to me, you're engaging really the full brain. That's how I see it. And then a lot of folks who can do things don't necessarily know how they do it, but it's like they recognize something, like they know how to switch back to whatever that place is in their brain. And then they're able to do it again. But to me, because I can see the subtle energy and I can see how my brain is behaving, I feel like I'm going through the pineal gland, which is like a portal, actually. And then I feel like my whole brain is flooded with information. So it's coming from 360, from all over into this one place. And then it's kind of making me retrieve the information, whatever it may be, all at once. That's why you hear, see, sense, feel, understand, like as an experience. It's hard to describe, but I think I described it.
Yeah.
So I can't speak specifically for him, but I feel like that's what's happening. And each person recognizes the way to go back there to achieve what they want.
So is that DMT? Are you somehow activating DMT in your pineal gland, do you think? Or
It's a byproduct of that.
Okay.
And so the meditation technique that is specific for, I call this mind over matter, training, does also that it's like you're focusing on the pineal gland or a 0 point inside your brain, and you are kind of absorbing or balancing or calibrating all your mental energy, if you will. And then there's another point behind the heart at the thymus gland also that creates another, it's like a little vortex there that creates another field. And then behind the navel is another field. And so the meditation training is you're aligning these 3 points, and you get to this perfect stillness state. And those 3 points help you become very laser-like. And so I don't know how I got into this conversation. I don't know. I don't remember what the original.
It was about the pineal gland and DMT.
Yeah, DMT. And so what happens is once you are in this perfect 0 point alignment, then it is as if it's like the chemistry that follows. That allows you to have all of this information, tap into all of this information. So first, it's your consciousness and your intention to get to that place, and then, the chemistry follows.
Interesting. Wow.
Is synesthesia somehow connected to this?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Because like I said, your brain starts to function differently, and all the senses come together. So it's like you hear color or you see sounds. It's very cool. Like you're not separating the 5 senses anymore.
Yeah, one of the guys in the movie was studying synesthesia, and that's how he got into I think it was the guy that was doing the sound and the visuals from the brain, from the thoughts. I think
exactly.
One of those guys. Exactly. Yeah, it was pretty fascinating. He was studying that, and that's how he developed the software to get to actually visually represent the vibrations of your thoughts. It's crazy.
Exactly.
As you do.
So what about, do you have any questions, Darren? Or
no.
Before we, what about,
I'm just along for the ride.
Yeah. What about for this, advice for people during, we already talked about a little bit, the fear, like getting out of the fear state, but I guess, do you have any general advice for people through this confusing time right now where people don't know what's happening in the future or what's going to happen with life? It's so confusing for people, kind of stuck. People are stuck. Sometimes you feel stuck on many different levels,
Definitely. I think more than ever before, you need to be in charge of your mind because it's crazy what's happening right now. Literally, all this stuff that's happening, I think, messes with your head. You're like, wait, I can't do this anymore. I've done it my entire life. Wait, I have to change everything. It's really affecting many people psychologically in so many ways. And so that's the reason why I think more than ever before, it's so important to do whatever you can to make sure you're in charge of your mind. So, I recommend people do these meditations. They're free. So go to the website, go to the YouTube channel, and do the connecting to source meditation, do the other meditation to keep you in this kind of connected, higher vibrational state, just so that when things come at you, you have the clarity. Because the problem is when we're bombarded with all of this uncertainty and the fear, you can't make a decision. Wait, does that mean I have to move? Does that mean I have to change job? Which job? Where do I go? What do I do with it? So there's all this uncertainty, and you can't think clearly, and you can't make the right decisions. So that's the reason why these meditations allow you to at least have, that clarity, so that you do make the right decision. When they're going to hit us with, the kids' school thing, or you have to take a vaccine and all of those new laws, that are coming up. There are many things also that you can do where you can still create your reality within what's being created for you. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do. You can, just again, through meditation, you learn how to do a shield around you. You become invisible. You don't disappear, but you can do all sorts of things. Shield yourself from people, kind of projecting stuff on you, absorbing virus, all kinds of stuff that you can do. I think people need to take this very seriously.
Yeah, that's good advice. I like that.
Where's the best place to watch the movie?
Just go to superhumanfilm.com. And they'll see all the information there. They can, they'll see the platforms where they can watch it. In Canada, I'm pretty sure it's on Rogers also. Is that your cable, I think? But also, Amazon, iTunes, everywhere. Good. And there's also some information on the workshops as well.
Good.
Superhumanfilm.com.
Nice. Are those, before I forget to ask, those 0 point energy points in your body, are those the same as the traditional chakras, the 3 chakras? No. Okay, no. Interesting.
Yeah, these are like portals. Like, it's basically empty space, and when you hold your energy field around that particular point, first of all, like for example, the one around the pineal gland, use all the mind chatter. Kind of gets absorbed within the 0 point, and then this gets you to this like perfect stillness. It's almost like, and then you can see so clearly.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So it's slightly different.
Okay. Good. Awesome. Right on. Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap it up?
I think this was great. You guys all your questions were awesome.
Good.
And I just hope people will not worry too much about questioning and just like going out and do it. It's like it costs nothing to give it a try. And then, before you know it, you start to feel empowered, and it can help you in your daily life. So I'm really hoping people will watch the movie and do that.
Yeah, I think you did a great job on it. I mean, I think it's one of those ones that can make an impact on a lot of people's lives, especially with all that scientific stuff and all the studies and the guys in your film, not guys, but the people in your film, it's great. So thank you very much.
How dare you?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, it was nice to meet you. Maybe we'll see you at an event sometime or something like that.
I hope so. Let me know if you guys are coming out to Utah for sure.
All right, take care.
We'll see if the border opens. Thanks for coming on the show. Come back anytime. We encourage our audience to check out the movie.
Thank you so much. Superhumanfilm.com.
Okay, see you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oops.
And that was our chat with Carolyn. What'd you think, buddy?
Yep. That was a winner. Uh-oh.
Oh,
Did
God
something happen?
damn it.
What happened? Are we still going?
It says we need to fix your Microsoft account. Most likely your password has changed.
What?
Did you change the password? You said you accidentally did something last night. Was it change the password?
Last night?
Yeah. When you were finishing up Union of the Unwanted.
No. Scary. Scary things
Microsoft
happen.
problems, Facebook problems. Maybe the Grimerica purge has begun.
Yeah, I think so. You can't publish COVID cures in the podcast
It was bound
feed.
to happen.
Anyways, it really was a good movie. It was a little slow at the beginning because I'm used to we've talked so much about the remote viewing. It was kind of like a little bit review-ish, but then now that other stuff, like that blind, those masks, man, that was crazy.
This should all be reviewed for you dude. At this point, buddy.
I know that's what's so astounding. I mean, we've done this show, all these topics for so long, and there's still new stuff and these people doing workshops and research that we don't even know about. Yeah. Anyways,
stuff.
Yeah, she's great.
New stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of new stuff, you're getting some value from the show, learning some new stuff. Send some support to grimerica.ca/support so we can get some new stuff, like maybe a new cord, a new insert cord.
Oh, you need some cords, yeah.
Well, like that one's kind of rigged up. It's tied back and pulled in the one direction. Yeah, it seems to be working. But then we got another broken cord. Grimerica.ca/support. If you're getting a little value from the show, you want to send a little value back our way, go to the support page and think about what does the Grimerica show, how much does it make my life better? Is it worth more than my cable, more than a coffee, more than some candy, cigarettes, whatever your vice is? Where's the show measure up? Grimerica.ca/support. If you can, when you can, sign up for the newsletter, join the chats. I think there is a real possibility that the social media thing could be coming to an end. I don't know for sure.
But I know there's been people entering lately.
Not the chats, but I mean Facebook and Twitter. Twitter hasn't been too bad, but there's been some weird things happening with the Facebook page lately.
Oh, you mean for like Grimerica on those platforms?
Yeah. So it's a good time to be in the chats. Grimerica.ca/chats. We are going to transition soon to the Mastodon is getting worked on. And the Grimerica chat server on our own server is getting worked on. So the best way to do that is you need to be A, sign up for the newsletter, and B, in the chats so that you know when all this stuff happens and you're not like, what happened? Where'd everybody go? And then you don't find us. You better if you find us. Grimerica.ca/chats. Join today. What else? Spam Gram, support the show.
Buy your wheatgrass, help out 100% Canadian maple syrup. Sent the code.
We got a maple syrup code.
It's okay. It's just somebody from the chat. So
do you think it's real?
Yeah.
All that fantastic stuff. Shout out to Lou. We hope to see you. Actually, we won't see you, but we hope you can go represent Canada at the Scablands in September.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
He seems like he could isolate. Actually, shout out to the Rev, too. I was hanging out with him on Saturday. Did you know farmers are allowed to go over the border and come back and not quarantine? Same with truck drivers.
No.
How come I have to quarantine?
Because you're not essential. You're not that essential. You're not that essential. You're only essential in your local area.
I'm essential all over.
I won't talk about why you're essential because it'll get us in trouble.
You're unessential. What are you going to say?
I'll tell you after.
Okay. All right, guys. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.
Can you observe my existence in the way that I make debris swirl in the streets? What is it that inspires us to go left instead of right at that fork in the road? Your gold, your possessions exponentially decrease in value. Will you resume the fetal position? Resume the fetal position. Sucking on your thumb. You become jaded with the power of your time and mind. The power of your time and mind. You become jaded with the power of your time and mind. The power of your time and mind. Gonna catch a Greyhound bus down to Tennessee to go see the king. Get these questions answered while my heart is still thumping.